Shalom Yasharallah. Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. We give double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Khan, but as great millstone for the bring forth the 100% truth that I've been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, tabernacle of David, and I am Roberta Zaria coming to this lesson. Now we have a female that we already know about going around trying to make be the author of confusion. But Yahweh Shemir Shai is not the author of confusion, into which he set men up with the understanding to even confound these people. Because they have tried and tried to show that the Bible is a fraud and it doesn't exist and these things are not true. But yet we still tend to break it down to them and have them in awe. So this person, this individual, I'm not going to show no face, but you already know who I'm talking about, who used the precept of Exodus 20 and verses 5, where it says, and I'm going to make sure I read exactly what she said, and read it exactly next one after, to show the contradiction is what she's trying to show in the scriptures. But she failed to understand because she didn't read. She don't read. If you have read the scriptures, you would have known that this exact same thing mentioned here is of a different light. And what do I mean? Let's read. It says Exodus chapter 20 verses 5, which is what she started off with. She says, "Thou shalt not be bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me." This is what she read. Then she jumped into Isaiah chapter 45 and verses 5, I believe, and says, "I am Yahweh, and there is none else. There is no God besides me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me." So she's trying to say, in one instance, the Father saying not to serve any other gods, and in one instance, he said that he is there by himself, to make a contradiction in the scriptures yet again. But if you could jump from Exodus to Isaiah, then you could have jumped from Exodus to Psalms to see exactly what it was dealing with. Because even when you go into that same precept, that same Isaiah 45, it's an actual precept from Deuteronomy, which you should have gone to. And in the book of Deuteronomy, it also told you about these gods being idols, not to worship them. But let's get I want to get the plain precepts to show. Instead of going cross-reference, let's get the plain precepts to show it. This is what she was trying to promote. So let me push something different. Let's go into Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verses 39 to get what I was saying before. As it says, "See now that I am he, and there is no God with me." Exactly what was mentioned in Isaiah 45 verses 5, right? As it goes on to say, "I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand." So he's telling you here, hey, there is no other power that is as powerful as I am. No one could rival me. That's basically what you're saying. So she used Exodus 20 and 5 and Isaiah 45 verses 5 to try to confound things. But let me make a correction here, because as far as I know, no other gods. So in other words, so what does he mean when he said no other gods? It's referring to idols. That's what it's going into. That those heathens worship, that we should not partake of. It's referring to idols, because if you could skip Exodus and go into Isaiah 45, then let's skip Exodus and go into Psalms 96 and verse 5. And let's read it. "For all the gods of the nations are idols." What? All the gods of the nations are idols. Which is why he can say there's none beside him. You fail to understand scriptures and you are trying to cause confusion. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy to skip Psalms and go to Isaiah, knowing that Psalms would have confounded you. Even continuing in Deuteronomy would have confounded you. So you purposefully are bypassing these precepts to ensure that people, as much as yourself that don't understand scriptures, could remain blind. Okay, now I get it. Now I understand. Let me get another precept to show you the exact same thing. Let's go into Chronicles, because you skipped Chronicles too. We're going back. Let's go back a little bit. Chapter 16 and verses 26. And it says, for all the gods of the people are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. Is this my words, or is this the scriptures that you skipped? Let's ask that question. Maybe one of her followers could answer. She doesn't have to answer. I don't want her to answer. She's a reprobate. Doesn't matter. We'll go back and Psalms 96 and verses 5 again. All the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. And that part is what separates, is a separating of his people from the other nations. He's making sure I made a declaration clear. All the other gods that they serve are nothing to him. They are actual idols. So the gods referring to Exodus 20 is referring to what the heathens would have practiced and partake of in Egypt and in other regions. Which is why he said not to partake of them. Not to serve them, because they see it as gods. Let me get that precept. The heathen see it as other gods, but really and truly they are not. So let me get that precept real quick. And I'm making this clear one time. The Bible literally set up these things. So let's go into Sirach 17 and verse 17. I read that first before you go into the precept. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is the Lord's portion. What did he do? Set a ruler over every people. And seeing that these gods that they serve are idols. I think you get the point of this. But I don't have to explain myself anymore, right? But let me keep going. Because, watch me. At the end of the day, Israel is the Lord's portion. But those heathens see their idols as gods, like I said. Even though they can't breathe, they can't move, they're simply inanimate objects. Let's get a precept in Wisdom of Solomon to be exact. And this is not me speaking out of my own words. Let's get the precept. Wisdom of Solomon 15 verse 15. We'll go down to verse 17 if you have to. Let's read. It says, for they counted all the idols of the heathens to be gods. They counted all the idols of the heathens to be gods. One more time. For they counted all the idols of the heathens to be gods. So you see what it's referring to? Idol worship. Ma'am, go back and study. You sound like a reprobate at this point in time. I think I proved my point, but let's continue. Which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor nose to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers to hand, fingers of hands to handle, and as for their feet, they are slow to go. Verse 16. For a man, this is what it says. For a man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a god like unto himself. You hear that one more time. For no man can make a god like unto himself. For being mortal, he worketh a dead thing with wicked hands, for he himself is better than the thing which he worshippeth, whereas he lived once, and they never. So the gods, according to Exodus, was referring to idol worship, partaken in Egypt and these other regions, which is why he made a declaration clear, never to worship these idols. It's not referring that, come on, there's no contradiction there. These gods in the precept is idols. That's what it's going into. If you had digging a little bit more, probably did a little studying, you would understand that. You skip from Exodus straight to Psalms, to Isaiah, forgetting all the other precepts. There's more. There's actually more in Deuteronomy. But I want you to do your research. But I know you're not going to, because you're going to remain a reprobate regardless, right? So, this is the reason why all you have to do is apply Isaiah 8 and 20. For those who are leaning onto her foolishness and being confounded will remain foolish. It's simple. Apply Isaiah 8 and 20, the standard, to the law and to the testimony. Here it says, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. No light in them. This is why we study to show ourselves approved. For foolishness like this, we would not trip us up. Look at that precept. So like round 1, verse 15. Again, and I have to bring this in their heads all the time. Study to show yourself approved. A workman needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. If you have studied, you would have rightly divided the word of truth. But we also have to remember Job chapter 39 and verses 17. For their foolishness, because power had deprived her of wisdom, neither had he imparted to her understanding. So you don't have that understanding to dissect scriptures, to break it down, and to comprehend. Remember the truth. Let me get a precept. Right there. Immediately. Apocrypha. Right here. Let's get a precept for you. Let's read it from verse 37 to 38. It says, therefore write all these things that thou hast seen in a book and hide them. Here it says, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets, which is not you, because you wouldn't have been trying to make the Bible look confusing because you don't understand it. Because it wasn't given for you to break down. It wasn't given for you to dissect or to carry about or to teach. Don't be upset that the true men, are given a responsibility and you are excluded from because you are female. Don't be upset. Don't be upset because the scriptures have confounded you in many ways that you begin to hate the Heavenly Father and the ways of life. Don't be upset. Don't use your anger and your vexation to try to confuse things, because people like us is going to show you out and you're not going to answer even though you're going to see it. Anyways, it's going to go on TikTok too. But, I hope this lesson was indeed edifying. It's simple. And before I close out, let's go 2 Timothy again. I want to get one more precept. Yet again, we have a silly woman. Let's read. It says for verse 6. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 6 says, for of this sort are they which creep in houses and laid captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of this truth. See? So you will never be able to access this knowledge of this truth until the kingdom. So for now, pat down. There's much to learn. And the next video too, I want to do next video as well. Just to make sure, because your claims was that, this is a confusing statement because one made God saying there's no one beside, no gods behind other gods. And then in the next one he's saying, don't worship other. No, you misunderstood. No problem. You have much to learn, but not in this lifetime. So I hope this lesson was edifying. Shalom Yasharala, Kal, Halalia, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Akakwadash. We double honors to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, but the great minister for the bring forth the 100% truth that have been correctly edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David. And I am a brother Tazariak saying to you, Shalom.